Hi there, my name is Kendrick, and today I get to interview Jess. So, Jess, welcome.
Hi, yeah, I'm Jess. I'm an ISTJ, sleep, blast, consume, play, double feminine, number four, probably.
And your social type, sorry, your SIFI, is that correct?
Yeah, SIFI, sorry.
Gotcha. And you said number four, probably. So, is your social type not been completely hashed out yet by Dave and Chan?
Well, it was, and I'm pretty sure I am, but it's like when I got my type back, I guess like Shannon, Lexi, and Dave typed me. I don't know if there was anyone else, but apparently, like Shan and Lexi thought I was a four, and then Dave thought I was a three. And so I just was like, okay, whatever, I'm one of those. But like over time, as I've kind of like learned about them more, I think I'm seeing a lot more like four like issues. I sometimes feel like I can be pretty flexy, but like the kind of like issues in tidal wave seem more like four, so probably four.
Yeah, I mean, I can. Well, we'll talk and we'll see
Yeah,
how it
yeah.
goes. But well, you said Shan did most of your typing.
Oh, I don't know who did like most of it. I just know Chan and Lexi thought I was a four and we're disagreeing with Dave on whether I was a four or a three.
Oh, I see. I see. Gotcha. I think when I also got my social type, it was kind of confusing at first because Dave was telling everyone in the community I was a four, but
Yeah,
I had to reach out to him and I sent him tons of um supporting documents, and then
yeah,
supporting documents actually pointed out, oh, I look like a four because of my animals, like play activates number four, and blast activates specialist. I look like a friend specialist instead.
yeah,
Like when he did a deep dive with all the supporting documents, it turns out I was two, right? But it wasn't obvious when you just look at me from like surface. So I think for you, maybe he was seeing your flex because sleep activates flex, right? So
mm,
and then you have the blast. So it looks like you have the specialist coin because it's like it's tricky, right? So I think Dave sometimes gets tricked by that. Uh,
yeah.
you know,
But I still would be specialist, just second, not first.
exactly. Exactly. Well, let's talk about your parts then, since we're already on this topic. Your first animal is sleep. Okay. SIFI.
Mhm.
How do you personally experience that first sleep animal?
Um, I think it's just like I don't want to do anything 99% of the time. Like I'm just like always, like flaking on plans or like just like not going to like social functions or just like anything where I have to expend energy basically. And I'm just like always just like overthinking and ruminating kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of benefits with the SIFI sleep animal. Maybe you can share with me some of them. Let's talk about the four different dimensions of it. The first one is processing your deep emotions, okay? Usually from the past because of the SI. So you look back in the past and then you look at the FI emotions, and also being able to pinpoint the exact emotions you're feeling and kind of seeing, oh, which emotions am I dealing with the most, like the negative ones, you could say, right? And I'll just give you a quick example. So, for example, for me, um, it changes every few years, but long time ago, the emotion I struggled with was sadness, anger, and loneliness. That was when I was younger, right? But then as I got older, it kind of changed to um, what was it? Like feeling disrespected and a bunch of other stuff. Oh, frustration. So those were like the big ones. So it changes for me. So I want to see your version of that. Like, what is the name of the emotions that you felt like you struggled with the most, and then how did you process them?
um well, first I'm interested, like, did you say that like you couldn't like pinpoint what? Because I'm trying to just like understand how it is for like non-sleep. Like, is it like you just feel those, but you don't like go inward, so you don't realize that you're frustrated or that you're lonely till later or something like that?
Oh, so I have double masculine sleep, so I've always seen my emotions.
Okay.
The problem was doing something about it, you know. But it wasn't, it's not like I didn't do anything about it. It just took longer for me to because Dave said when you have a sleep animal, one of the things that you do is you make sure you don't make the same mistakes as before. So for me, I kept making the same mistakes because I would be aware of it, but I wasn't taking the right steps to address it. So I mean, even today, there's still aspects of that that I haven't addressed because I just keep not fixing the same mistakes, essentially. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, you could say that, you know, if someone else that would be a similar type to me, if they had double feminine sleep, it might be harder for them to see those, so they won't even be able to do anything about it because they did. It's harder to see. But you do have masculine FI, so I do think you can see it. Uh,
Yeah, I definitely can see how I'm feeling. I don't know that I necessarily like, I mean, I probably do, but like the way I'm thinking about it is like I don't like there's not necessarily always something I can do about it. Like, it's like if I'm feeling like depressed or something, I can't just like switch it off or like, you know, do like I have a hard time like going out and exercising or whatever. Like that's like something you could do about it. That's probably not what you're saying, but I think I do like I have an easy time like being like, okay, I'm having this issue, like what's my next like steps to solve it? So that's probably like more what you're trying to say. But
oh, I get what's going on. You're because you're double activated sleep. Sometimes you get stuck in that loop, you know, and then and you have NT last, right? You know, because your play is last, right? So I think figuring out things would be a challenge for you. Is that right?
yeah, I mean it depends on what it is. It feels like I have an easy time like maybe like figuring out like personal problems, like just being like, okay, I'm having like I've been on my phone too much, or like I've been depressed, like what should I do next? And like I feel like I have an okay time doing that, but like yesterday, this is like a good example of not being able to do the NT. Like I was like kind of preparing for this interview and I was like, oh, I want to like have like my camera like do the webcam and not my crappy like Mac camera or whatever. And so I was like trying to figure out how I could like connect my camera to my computer to do the webcam. And I like watched so many videos and I was like trying to figure it out so much and I just like couldn't. And it just like filled me with so much anger and it just like makes me so mad. And that's like probably like what the NT is, I assume, since it just triggered me so much.
Yeah, I think so. I think for in your case, yeah, it would be that. For me, it would be the SI because I relate to your problem, but I think from the SI perspective, did you manage to figure it out though? Are you using no?
No, I'm using my Mac camera.
Yep. Yeah, I used to use a different camera also when I recorded, but I got like the M1 MacBook or something, and then you can't connect those external cameras anymore with the new like those M whatever Macs, and that really
Yeah.
like pissed me off too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I totally get the observer struggle there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So it's interesting how you do process your emotions. It's a little bit different from the way I do it, but it's kind of still the same because you know, we have the same parts, just opposite, completely opposite, except for the middle ones.
Mhm.
Um, what about your health routine? So Dave and Shan always have talked about in the past, like SIFI, they have health routines. So SI is the routine and FI is whatever would make you feel good or feel better. So there is exercise and there's nutrition, there's sleep, like physical sleep, and then there's mental health. So can you share with me if you have any routines for each of those four aspects of the SI-FI health routine?
Yeah, I don't. Let me think. Name those things again. So mental health, physical, like exercise and eating. Is that all you said?
Yeah, and nutrition and physical sleep.
Okay. Um, for exercise, like I think with the like feminine SI, it's like harder to get into like a set routine, and probably like it's probably more of like a sleep issue thing where I just like can't get the motivation or whatever. But that one's kind of like harder to get into a routine for. I've kind of like been on and off. Like when I was in high school, there was like a year where I like rock climbed every day for like 2 months or whatever. That was like the first time that I actually was like consistent with it though. But I like am always trying to, like, health is like really important to me and I want to be good at it. I just have a hard time being good at it. But I think with like food, I definitely am like very nitpicky about like eating healthy. And that was kind of like an issue, kind of, because like all through like high school and stuff, I had like binge eating disorders and stuff, and kind of like it's like I'd be super controlling with food and then just eat so much. And it always like that was like my big like struggle pretty much for the last, I don't know, like 6 years of my life or whatever, still is pretty much. But like, yeah, that was like just kind of what was on my brain all the time was like food and trying to like control myself basically, which is kind of funny that I would like ever not realize that I was like SI, because it's like literally it was just my whole struggle was just like, let me figure out how I can control myself in everything I do. But yeah, and then like with mental health, like I just try to, I don't know, like I have like a daily schedule kind of thing that I have, and it's not like set in stone like hour by hour. It's more like, I'll like wake up and I like mark off if I did my daily guitar and mark off if I did like my daily mantra or whatever and stuff like that. And so like that's kind of the stuff that I've found works for me to kind of like make me more happy, I guess. But I don't know.
That's for your mental health. Is that what you said?
Yeah, and a little bit of both. It's like it's got exercise in that little planner thing too, but
Oh, I see. And then did you say anything about your sleep routine also, your physical sleep routine?
oh, yeah, that one's pretty good. I always like I have work early in the morning, so I pretty much like go to bed around like 11 and wake up at like 6, except on weekends because I don't have work, and it's really hard to like if I don't have something external to like force me to get up, I have like a really hard time. So if it's like Sunday and there's nothing to wake me up, then it's like I'll just wake up at like 11 and get 13 hours of sleep or something like that. It's really hard.
That sounds pretty good. Um, um, so I was just listening to what you were saying, and I was thinking about some things that I've seen other people that is similar type to you. The SIFI ISTJs number fours.
Mhm.
When you were talking about the exercise, it sounded to me that it was a drive issue, you know, like the drive to go to the gym or get like a workout in. Um, because I work in the fitness industry and I have so many IJ clients, like all the people that gravitates towards me that becomes my client for working out are all IJs. It's ridiculous. Okay, I have all the flavors except for ISFJ, I think. I have like ISTJ, INTJ, and INFJ. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I have all the flavors and they're all jumper types too. Because I'm the jumper ENFP, so they're all the self above tribe IJs. And I have a client who is a number four ISTJ, but he's a guy and he's a little bit different from you in a sense that because you are sleep blast consume play, but he is sleep consume play blast. Uh, and he's FM, so he's like very visual as a dude, right? So that
Mhm.
means he has double feminine sleep. So he has absolutely zero drive. It's the biggest pain in the ass in my case to babysit this guy. I have to call him, make sure he doesn't flake out on the training session because he needs to show up. Otherwise, he's not gonna get fit, and he wants to get fit, or he wants to lose weight at least, But yeah, he's gonna flake out because he has no drive whatsoever, right? But he's kind of like you guys, because you have a really good self-awareness, and so does this guy. So I asked him, like, why are you struggling so much? He's like, I just don't care. Here's what he said to me, right? Or he'll say things like, I'm only doing it for my parents, or some other things that he'll say to me is, I can't control myself, so I need other people to control me, because he has he's double feminine sleep, right? Because for you it's a little bit different. You have sleep loss, so you have two controlling animals, right? Like on the front end. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and then like your sleep, you have masculine FI, so you have, you can bulldoze yourself to do the right thing. But this dude, he can't even, right? Because he's double feminine on his sleep. So,
I don't know though. I don't like it'll be on and off, but it's like pretty much I'm most of the time I have a really hard time, like I'm just not exercising. I'll have like a week where I'm like, oh, like it's a good week and I'll, be okay, work out a few times, but then like a vast majority of the time I'm not exercising because I like don't really like it's like I feel the masculine FI like drive of like I have to do this, like I need to do this, like just get up, but then it's like but just not enough to actually make me get up. So then it's just like I'm mad at myself, but still not doing it. So I don't know.
I feel so. So when you exercise, do you go to the gym or do you work out at home or outside?
I just work out at home right now. I kind of hate going to the gym. There's too many people.
It,
But
that's ironic because you're save your friends, right? It's
yeah, well, it's just like I feel like the friends for me is like, with the play last, it's like I can get into it when I'm in like an environment that I'm used to and with people that like I'm used to. But like when you go to like a public gym, it's like just a bunch of people that I don't know or have a relationship with. And it just like triggers my play last where it's just like I can't I can't sleep process all the people in the room and it's just like too much. It's yeah.
I feel like it's two things. Okay. The first one that I see is the SI. The SI doesn't want to physically change locations, you know, like being at home is more comfortable, Uh so if you have to go to the gym, it's like a different, you have to SE almost to leave the house to go somewhere different, and then you don't have SE. I don't have SE.
Yeah.
I hate leaving the house too. And then I think the second thing is, um, the first thing you said is like you said when you were comfortable with people, it's easier because I think they're already inside your FI, so you're familiar with them, and then once they're inside your FI, then you can do the play, right? But if they're
Yeah.
not, then you don't have FE, so you don't want to go like do that, right? Uh,
Yeah.
but then I was thinking about people of similar type to you that I've spoken to in the past, and I think one thing that I have noticed is like you can trick yourself, where it's like if you go to like a gym, for example, and everyone's a stranger, but if you've been going there for like 2 years, you kind of start knowing people. Like, oh, it's this person again. Oh, it's the same front desk person, that's reception, and then now you have like friends, and then now it's like, oh, it's not like a weird like a public place anymore. It still is, but like there's so many familiar people because just you've been there so many times.
Yeah, and I think I could do that because I've like kind of done that in like my job, but like I think I just haven't gone like I've went to like a normal gym. I went for like a little bit with my sister and brother-in-law, and I went to like the climbing gym by myself for a while, but it's like I think I just didn't do it long enough to like get over that kind of hurdle or whatever. But
How does that make you feel though? Like knowing that all you had to do was hop, wait long enough, and then you would get over the hurdle.
I mean, it's like probably good because it's like I still want to like especially lately I've kind of been wanting to like start going to like an actual gym again. So it's like it's kind of like a nice thought to be like if I just like stick to it long enough, I can figure it out. But
Gotcha. Um, I still feel like it's a number four issue though, ultimately, rather than play last. But we'll chat about that later on because we'll get to your play last because that seems to be
yeah.
like the one that's affecting you the most is the play
Mhm.
last. Let's talk about your second animal. ST blast. Okay, this is your first two functions. So it technically would be the strongest, even though it's your second. Um, and it's double feminine also. So it's like the softest, most friendliest version of all the ST blasts. Um, how are you when it comes to organizing, you know, instructions and then giving people instructions on what to do? Because that's what SI is essentially doing, right? It's like the way I see ST blast is like step one, do this, step two, do this, step three, do this, right?
Yeah.
Of
I mean, I definitely like don't outright be like, okay, step one,
course not.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't necessarily like see myself showing people like how to do something very often is the issue. Like I feel like when I recognize my blast, it's more like in a conversation where I just feel like I need to like, just say my opinion and like narrow it down. Like I feel like it's this, and I just like narrow it down to like one answer or whatever. And it's like really annoying. I kind of hate it, but
Oh, you're trying to be as concise as possible when you give answers, is what you're trying to say?
yeah, like just in conversations, like sometimes I'll kind of like I'll get annoyed with myself if I'm having a conversation with someone and it's like we're just, I don't know, having a conversation about something and I kind of like narrow the conversation down to like one answer because then it's like the other person can't go back, can't go back and forth or whatever because I just like given an answer or whatever and kind of shut it down, I guess. But I don't know.
So you're a double decider and you're aware this is happening between you and other people. And you are aware, as you said, that you just shut down the play essentially with your concise blast. Is that what you want to happen? Like, did you do that on purpose or
No, I think it's just more like happens naturally because I don't like it. Like it bugs me that I do that. And I might be over sleep processing it and like thinking that I do it more than I do.
yeah,
But I really notice it when I do it or like, and I think it might also be an info dominant thing where I expect it to be back and forth. And so if I go forth and someone doesn't give back, then I'm like, okay, what, like I did something, what did I do? And I might be just assuming it was like blasting or whatever, but it might just be like a info versus energy dominant person thing. So
sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, you could be talking to an energy dom or something. Yeah, yeah. But I do think the blast and consume conversation, it is back and forth, an exchange of information for sure, where one person is blasting, the other one's consuming, and then they take turns doing it essentially. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and then usually, when you're an info dom, you cite your source too, with the consume, right? Um, but I think with the play last, from what I've seen, especially, I've noticed play last people, if they don't know you for like a extended period of time, I have to use that word too, because I had a play last client who um I had two actually. I had this one girl who was like an INFJ jumper, play last. She didn't ping me for the first 2 months I trained with her. Like I trained her. She didn't like nothing. I would ask her, how's your day? She's like, it's great. I'm like, oh, okay. And then like I had another client who was like an INTJ jumper. He was a psychologist. And then I would also ask him questions. And he would just give me like a one word concise answer. And then that's it. And then it would end the conversation. But then I did notice, like, given enough time, they started paying back and forth and then becoming more enjoying the back and forth. So I think for you guys, you just need a lot more time before you can get to that point.
Yeah, and that's definitely what it is. It's like it's just like takes me a second to get used to the person and then I'm fine. And it's like, and that's kind of like almost made me, especially because I have a big family and a lot of them live at home. So I just like with my play last, I just kind of like have made my family like my like four friends kind of thing. And so I don't like go out and hang out with new people a lot. But it's like since I'm around people I'm comfortable with all the time, sometimes I'm like, am I really like play last? Because like I really do like the back and forth. And then when someone doesn't go like fourth or, then it just, I'm like, oh, what did I do wrong? Or like sometimes when I'm like texting my friends and I like say a bunch of stuff and then they don't like answer back because it's like I do the info dominant in texting and I know the energy dominants don't want to text like a bunch of words for a long time. But like, and so it's like the fact that I sometimes do just want to like write so much information down in like a text thread, like sometimes makes me think like, am I really play last? Like it's a lot of like talking back and forth that I'm like trying to get for being play last. But and then it takes like 5 seconds for me to be like, yeah, no, I'm definitely still play last.
That's funny. That's funny. It's funny because you want to do the play, but it's just not happening the way you'd like it to happen.
Yeah, and that's a thing too. Like I'm really good. I'm a lot better at play in texting than in person, I think. Like that's what I noticed like cuz like I think it's a four thing, but like I don't know, liking to be like funny since it seems like there's a lot of like for comedians, like I really love being funny, but I'll notice that like I can be like a lot I can't be funny with people that I don't know. So if it's like in Utah, there's a lot of like high school dances or whatever. And we have like so many. And I just remember like at high school dances, there's like too big of a group and I can't be funny with like all these people that I don't know.
Right.
But like if there was a group chat for like that group, then I could be like really funny in the in the text thread. But it's just annoying because it's like I'll be so funny and then like meet them in person and I just like nothing, you know?
I can see how that would bother you. Yeah. I think a lot of the misconception that I've learned about Playlast since you know like talking to you guys over the interviews and stuff and just having Playlast friends also is that a lot of Playlast people want to connect with people. It's just that it doesn't come out right a lot of times, um when I was in college I was friends with this ISTJ girl and like we used to talk on the phone a lot, but then when I got a girlfriend I stopped talking to her on the phone, right? And then like a year later she called me out on it. Like she said, oh, you used to call me all the time and we would chat on the phone and you would update me on what's going on with you and stuff. And now you suddenly stop because you got a girlfriend. And she's like, I have a boyfriend, but I didn't stop doing that, or whatever, right? And then I was like, I didn't even know she cared, because like
Yeah.
the playlist doesn't show like that you want this. But then, when she called me out a year later, I'm like, oh, I didn't know it was like a big deal to her.
Yeah.
But like we would chat, like I would like hit her up and be like, hey, this is what's going on, blah blah, and then suddenly it stopped, because like I didn't know she valued that, right? So,
Yeah.
like yeah, so yeah, so for sure, I think with Playlist, it's tough. I don't know, like sometimes with like I guess it's you guys' responsibility ultimately to let the other person know that you want you want to do the play, it's
Yeah,
like yeah,
basically.
yeah. Um, so your third animal is consume, it's NF,
Hmm.
but it's double masculine. Okay, so it's like the most aggressive supposedly of all your animals. Um, can you share with me how you personally experienced that double masculine NF consume of yours?
Yeah, I think it's like, I mean, I think that was actually part of the reason why like I like had like a binge eating disorder because I got that when I was like 12 and it's like that's probably part of it because it's like it's just like it's not last, so I'm not like never eating kind of thing. because I think my sister, who's probably consumed less, like that's more of her problem, is like under stress and she just like forgets to eat kind of thing like that. But I think since it's third, it's like I remember and then it's like I'm allowed to do it, but I still have issues with it. So it's like instead I'll like put it off and then just eat like so much food at once. And it's the same with like any of the like consume stuff. It's like I feel bad like playing video games or something like that, or like watching Netflix, but like instead I'll just like not watch it, or not play games, and then just suddenly like I'll just like break and play games or something, and I just like that's all I can do for like a week straight kind of thing, and it's just like I have to do it and I can't stop myself kind of thing. Or it's the same with like buying clothes. It's like I'll like go months without buying anything and then just spend like $400 on clothes all at once instead of like in increments.
So you can't you can't stop controlling yourself? Is that like by default, like you just do it by automatically? Because like you said that you control yourself so hard and you crack and then you go the opposite way, right? So because I was thinking, I'm like, what if you just controlled yourself less, then you would crack less, right? But then is it automatic though? Like it sounds like to me like you can't even stop doing it. It's just like your default programming almost.
Stop. I mean, I am default SI control, but but like yeah, I do like it's easier now because I'm like I see that like the issue is like not doing it balanced. And so now I'm like trying to purposely like every day like allow myself to like watch YouTube videos or like, just shop or like buy one piece of clothing every few weeks or something like that. But like before, because it like before I didn't, when I didn't know that like that's what I should do and I should allow myself to do it, like it was extra hard to realize that just because like I got anxiety, like, and it still happens like every time I go on YouTube, like I just get like background anxiety. And so it like kind of like made me feel like, oh, I'm getting anxiety because this is bad and because I should be doing other things. And so if I stop doing this thing, I'll stop getting anxiety. So therefore, if I want to, be healthier and not have anxiety, I shouldn't play video games. I shouldn't watch YouTube or whatever because it's causing these problems. And so like that's why I think I had issues with it a lot more versus like now when I'm like, no, if I can do it in a more like relaxed state more often, then like I can make it less anxiety inducing, basically.
Yeah, you could also reframe it like it's a growth mindset thing to do for you to consume those stuff because you're consumed demon, right? So you're like, I'm working on my demons. I am doing,
I know it
like
looks like I'm just playing video games, but I'm actually growing.
exactly, 100%. Yeah, yeah, and I think like from that perspective, it's like, oh, this is a good thing,
Yeah.
Um, yeah, especially you, like IJs need to be gathering, right? So clothes, video games or whatever, like those are all good stuff for you guys. Um,
Yeah.
I,
It's
I
actually funny. My dad, I'm pretty sure is an SIFI ISTJ. I think he's blast last and probably like double masculine, but he still does the same thing. And it's just like funny because he's like, my dad, he's like older, but like I guess at some point someone taught him like how to play Fortnite because he just in the past like he would just like get in like a Fortnite addiction, or like many years ago he loved like Forza, and we have like the wheel that you can like do, and he just like play Forza or Need for Speed like so much. And it's just funny because it's like he won't play anything for a while, but then like suddenly he'll do it and he just gets like addicted to it for a little bit.
that's so funny. So your dad is like kind of like you, I guess, just like a
Yeah.
version of you. And then you can see him doing it, and you're like, oh, I'm doing what my dad is doing, kind of deal.
Yep.
I think ultimately though it's like an observer problem. Because like for me, like going to the gym and exercising has never been a problem, but like the problem for me was eating food. Like I know what the right thing to do is to get really fit, and I've done it before where I got like the 9% body fat and I got like really fit. But it was something that it was really difficult to maintain because I always want to eat the yummy food too. I was like, oh man, I love this food. Oh, I love this food. And then I can relate to the fact that when you restrict yourself so much, you crack and then you like go crazy, right? So I think nowadays what I'm doing now is I eat a little bit of my favorite food every day, so that like I I don't feel like I'm missing out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like just a
Yeah.
little bit, just enough that I have a taste. So for me, it's like, oh, I want more. It's like you can have another one tomorrow, and the day after, I'm like, oh yeah, right, okay, yeah,
Yeah, that was like hard to learn though, because like with that SI, it's like in the past when I have eaten this food or when I've played this video game, I have like done it way too much. And like I have like, repetition like evidence for that. And so it's like, so obviously I need to not do that thing. And so it's like no wonder I like had that issue for so many years.
right.
It's,
Well, you know what? At least you're aware of it. That's really good because then a lot of people are not even aware that this is happening to them. So I think that awareness is the first thing. And also when you said about the double masculine part of your consume, how that's the one that's making you binge eat. I have seen a lot of people with double masculine consume have this binge eating problem. One of them is my sister. She's an ENFP also, but NEFI. She's very NF when she talks, and she has double masculine. She's double feminine, right? So, she's consume sleep play blast ENFP number 4 also, and yeah, that double like the one thing that she would tell me, and maybe because she's lead consume, so she's more aware about this. So one thing that she'll tell me all the time is like, I go to the gym so I can eat all the food I want. That's what she tells me because I want to eat a lot. That's what she said. I want to eat a big bag of Doritos, like the biggest one, or
yeah.
whatever. And I want to eat the whole thing in one sitting. And I know if I just do that, I'm gonna become fat. That's what she said, right? So so she'll go to the gym, she'll hire like personal trainers and stuff, and or join like a group class. And she's save your friends, so she'll drag her friends to go with her to like all these classes, and they'll do it together as a friend thing. So it's like a double benefit. And then afterwards she'll pig out like nonstop. She'll eat everything, like literally. Like one time I left a bag of chips in my room, and my sister came to my room, right? She saw that. She's like, I don't like that flavor. I'm like, okay, well, don't eat it then. Then later on I come home and it's gone. She's like, I ate it. Like I was like, what? I thought you didn't like it. She's like, I saw it and I ate it. You double masculine consume, right?
Yeah.
She's
Yeah,
like,
it is funny because that's like pretty much like a realization that I made like a week ago was just like, like I should start like really going to the gym and doing weight training and stuff and like get muscle because it's like because I just was watching a video where they were talking about like the more muscle like the higher your metabolism or whatever and like the more you have to eat kind of thing and I was like I should do it just so I can eat more kind of because it's like if you're not fit, then it's like binging. But if you're fit, then it's like bulking and it's fine. So
that's so funny. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, for sure. Yeah, you can definitely eat more at least. So if you enjoy eating, for sure, that's a big benefit. Yeah, if you lift weights and you do like hit like high intensity interval training and cardio, I do you follow Brian Johnson, the INTP guy jumper?
hmm
Yeah, he does like something crazy. Like he does like I forgot like 6 hours a week of cardio. So like when I heard him say that, I was like, I'm not doing nowhere near the amount of cardio that like you should be doing to live the longest. It's like 5 to 6 hours of cardio. So I'm trying it right now. I haven't gotten to 6 hours a week yet. I'm like at 4 hours a week. I think right now, or 3 hours. I think 3 to 4 hours a week. But you know what I've noticed when I started doing the cardio? Oh my god, I can eat so much more and I'm not gaining weight. I'm actually losing weight. And like I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. I can eat yummy food and still continue to lose weight if I just do enough cardio. It's like boom, mind blown, right? I'm like,
yeah,
oh my god, life is so good then. I just have to do this cardio BS.
yeah, and that's kind of I read that on like the Playlast, like
Yeah.
the Playlast Facebook, like I guess there's like a Facebook group or whatever for Playlast, and it was like someone talking about like how exercising basically like gave them more energy and it's like And like I've heard that like exercise gives you more energy, but like I just never have energy. So I kind of assume that it's like, yeah, but it won't work for me. But like seeing like a play last say that, it's like, oh, like that's another, data point for like why I should be exercising more is that like it's probably gonna make my play last suck less.
Yes, yes. Yeah. Have you heard of Tim Ferriss, the author? He wrote the 4-hour work week, 4-hour body. He has a podcast. Have you followed any of his stuff?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, anyways, he's play last IJ. Okay. Play last INTJ. And he works out a lot and he has lots of energy. So, like if someone has proof that it works, you know,
Yeah.
it's this dude. I mean, for God's sake, he wrote a book on fitness, like the 4-hour body. Like 4 hour a week, and you get all the fitness you need or whatever, Uh,
Yeah.
and it was super info dumb too, so it's not like just BS, like um, like some BS stuff. It's just like, oh, here's like some data points to prove all this thing. I always appreciate info doms with like when they cite the source. It's so good.
Yeah. That's true. But I think with my feminine sensory, like I suck at citing the source, which is like just like dissonance for me because it's like, oh, I want to like make sure that I can like I always want to the cite the source well and like, quote them correctly, but it's like it's always like I remember this thing that I read and then I like can't I just like butcher what I read basically. And that's like really annoying not being able to like remember word for word and like who said it kind of thing. That's a really annoying thing for me at least.
I think you're citing your source in your own way with the masculine NE instead of the feminine SI. Because like when we're talking, I hear you say things like, "Oh, I was in this play last Facebook group, and this play last person said this," but you don't remember who the person is or the name of the
Oh
play last group because you don't have the feminine sensory, but you're still citing it, because
yeah,
you remember it, So it's just like it's like an NE way of citing, kind of weird, but
yeah,
still there, you know.
yeah, that's true. It is. That's one thing I definitely see myself doing is like the SI and probably info dominant too, just listing out like all the context and all like the facts. And it's like that's another thing I'm kind of annoyed with because I like realize that I'm doing that and I don't necessarily need to say all of it. Like I could just summarize.
Yeah,
But
yeah, and I think basically, even if you don't remember any of these facts, you can just go back. It's like, well, I don't know it right now, but I can go back and get it for you, because
yeah,
you know where you got it from at least, right? You know,
yeah.
yeah.
It's funny. It reminds me like I could see there's just this thing that happened. It was a few months ago, and it just like helped me like really see what masculine NE is and like how it works. And it was like I don't remember what happened, but it was. Let me think. I gotta go back and kind of remember all the facts and crap like that. But it was like I was trying to think of the word. I was trying to think of the word Martha's Vineyard, and I don't remember why, but it's like I knew I was looking for the word Martha's Vineyard and it was like on the tip of my tongue and I just had to like find my way to that word and I was like what's the name of that like one girl who like did some like fraud. She was like a cooking lady and did like tax fraud or something. And then someone said like Martha Stewart. And then I like jumped to that and used that to help me remember the word Martha's Vineyard. So it's like here's a thing that's kind of like this other thing. And like I just have to follow this like weird NE path to like
Yeah.
remember what I'm trying to remember.
It's crazy. You have to use your fourth function to remember things. That must be so annoying.
It is. I freaking hate the feminine sensory. I'm like terrible at driving. Like it's like I have terrible forward drive and actual physical driving. I'm bad at drive in all aspects of the word.
I think it's tough when your first your first function is feminine. Like I have feminine NE, right? And I'm an ENFP, but I use my SI so much. So
Yeah.
it's definitely you know, feel like we're not using our full power to the fullest
Yeah.
potential. You know,
It's like you know that you want it really bad, but you just like can't do it right,
because
basically.
it flies away because it's feminine. So it's
Yeah.
like it's like when I have to explain the concept to someone, I'm like, oh my god, I forgot the concept already because my NE is feminine. So, I have to
Yeah.
go back to my S sign, but like, okay, I have to like kind of go back to remember what happened. Kind of like what you're doing, except you're linking to something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, let's talk about your last animal. But by the way, I think after talking to you about all your animals, I think the thing that I'm seeing a lot actually is your masculine any at the bottom. Very interesting because you're an ISTJ, but you're using your any at the bottom a lot. Um, let's talk about your NT play last. Okay. So the first aspect of that I want to talk to you about is figuring things out with a tribe or like problem solving with a tribe, because that's what NT play is doing. Like when you're by yourself, sometimes you don't have the best solution, but the moment you talk to the tribe, suddenly you're like a genius because like the NT kicks in. Um, can you share with me, do you enjoy that process of brainstorming, problem solving with the tribe, figuring things out with the tribe, or is that something that, you know, still difficult for you?
Yeah, it's interesting because like I feel like that was like another one of those things that, you know, I mean I already said that. I'm just SI repeating, but like just the like it made me feel like I wasn't play last. It just happens every few days. I'm like, am I really? And then I'm just like, I'm definitely play last. I don't know why I'm even questioning it. But it's just like because I like I'll enjoy and like want to talk back and forth about my problem. But like and it's like weird because it's like some aspects of play are like harder for me than others. But like I think one thing with like trying to solve a problem with other people is like if it's like a personal problem, like an example for me is like trying to figure out where I want to go to college right now because I have like two options and I just like can't decide which one I'm supposed to do. And it's like when I'll like go to other people and like tell them about my problem, but I kind of like just shut them down, sort of, because like they'll like give me their advice and I'm just like, no, because like this, and this is the issue because I've like processed through it and I've like, because like the play like seems like more like on the like surface level, like it's kind of like more like shallow. And so like when I'm doing it after I've like, really gone in depth in like my sleep processing about a problem, it's like every like more surface level like piece of advice I'm just like no that doesn't work because of this or whatever. And so it's like I just kind of like shut people down and I try to like do it less, and their reasons are like valid too. It's just like I just like have ruminated too much on everything and
Well, I mean, it's your default programming. It's kind of hard not to do the stuff
yeah.
that you're doing. And that I think one of the things that you said was like there's aspects of the playlist that you can do and aspects of it that you can't do. And I definitely have seen that in my interviews in the past with playlist people. Because I've interviewed people who are playlist and they're doing the back and forth so well, But I notice they don't trust people or they don't want to engage with people. It's like, oh, you can engage with people, but you don't want to because you're play last. But then there's people who want to engage with people a lot, but they can't because they're play last. So
Uh-huh.
so the one thing is different. So
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I I honestly like feel like the play, and I actually like emailed Lexi about this like a little bit ago and she kind of like confirmed what I was saying, but I was like noticing like that doing the play is like a lot harder um with energy DOMs than with info DOMs because it's like I think that if I'm with like a sleep last or probably like a play last even, like I can do it easily and it's not like super draining for me. But if I'm like, at a party, like it's the same at like dances when we'd have like parties or whatever, it's like the energy DOMs like go switch back and forth between the play and sleep. And I can't switch in and out as easily, I think. And so like that, like it's so draining. And it's the same like just like, parties or if there's lots of people around. Like if it's just one person, I can do play so easy. But like when there's a lot of people, I just like shut down basically.
oh, okay. I can relate to that. That definitely the energy dom interaction is draining also for me. I get that. Like the exchange of energy as opposed to exchange of information. Yeah. Yeah, definitely can relate. I even have sad to say, I have an SIFI like ranking also of which type drains me the most. Also, like I think for me, like it's like the consume, play, sleep blast is the most draining because they want to joke around too much. Number one, no offense to if you're this type, by the way. I don't hate you. I just get some, if it's, but like like the blast last part is challenging because there's no conclusion. So you spent like an hour telling me something, and I'm like, is there like a punchline? There's no punchline, and I get so annoyed, right? Like what? I wasted time listening to you for nothing. Like
Yeah.
so yeah, and then like the consume take a long story. Sometimes it takes too long, and I'm like, oh god, like are you gonna get to a point like the blast, right? And there's nothing, right? And then the sleep, blast, play, consume can also be draining also because they also want to goof around too. But like the blast, I'm like, oh my god, you've told me this before because you only have one blast. Like like
Mhm.
you told this before, like can you tell me something different?
Yeah.
It's nothing different because there's no the consume is last, right? Um, so yeah, for sure. But I find it's actually okay for me to talk to the like the consume, sleep, play, blast or sleep, consume, play, blast. It's okay for those type for me. Because I can like because I'm play blast, so I can like prod them. So even though they have blast last, I can be like, okay, can you tell me the conclusion? I can poke them, right?
Yeah.
They might get annoyed, but I'm like, I need a conclusion. Poke, 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 and then eventually I'll get something out of them, right?
I definitely do that with my dad, who I think is sleep consumed play blast. Like I'll just because he just like won't he doesn't talk much.
Yeah,
And so it's but I'll just like I'm comfortable with him a lot. And so I just like will just poke at him and I'll just like, sleep report and like blast report to him like all the time because it just like is easy. Like it's I think sometimes I like just having like the one way, which is probably the blast. Like I like the one way versus like my mom who like will interject or whatever because she's
right.
blast. But which reminded me of something else I remembered that I wanted to mention, which is like with the blast second, I definitely noticed myself like in my sister, who I am confident is blast too. It's like we'll finish other people's sentences because it's like we want to make our like words like make sense and concise, and then if someone else is like struggling to like narrow down their words like or like can't get the last word of the sentence, then we'll like finish it off for them
Yeah,
basically. So that's probably more of like a blast thing.
yeah. No, it definitely is. I'm guilty of doing that. So yeah, I'm like, oh, I do that too much. Especially if you watch my interviews with last people, and I see them struggling to like get to the point, and I'll just say it. I'm like, yes, yes, that, and they'll point to me. So I'm like, so I guess maybe it's needed sometimes. Like
I, it seems like it helps.
I think if the person has like blast in the first three, I don't have to do that to them because like they can give me the conclusion. But like the blast last definitely struggles.
It depends because I think like me and my sister probably are like she also seems SI. So it's like we're probably both feminine SI with savior blast. And I think with the feminine SI, like sometimes it's like at least for me it like feels like my brain is just like full of nothing sometimes when I'm trying to like explain something and it's
Yeah.
like I can't find the last word, and she kind of does the same thing sometimes with like with the feminine SI. It's like harder to narrow it down, and so it's like we can kind of like help each other narrow it down sometimes because when you're coming from the outside it's like I don't know why it's so easy to tell like what the next word is going to be, but it's like just easy to like finish it off for them. But when you're the one talking, like it's harder to like or organize it.
So do you live in a full observer household then? Is that what you're trying to say? Is everyone in your house kind
I,
of
well, I have four siblings. So I don't know. I don't know everyone's full type. I know my oldest brother because he was actually like the one that introduced me to this.
oh,
He's an ENFP,
they type
consume
them?
yeah,
Really?
consume
What's this
play
type?
blast. ENFP or any FI
Uh-huh.
consume sleep play blast MF number 3, and
FF?
then
Double feminine also?
MF.
Oh, MF, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then my other brother my second oldest brother he's got any, probably got FI. I don't probably play because I have like a harder time like with him than my other brother. Like like there's like something, it's harder for me to like connect with him than my other brother. So I think it's probably like some sort of play, something getting in the way or whatever. But
Maybe
I don't,
sleep and play people tend to go along really well.
yeah, I don't know what it is. I wish I knew his type, but
Oh, maybe he's not your quadra. Maybe he's a different quadra.
yeah, he could. I'm definitely seeing NE, and I still think I'm seeing FI, and my brother thinks so too.
Okay.
It's kind of hard. Like that one, it's harder to tell. My oldest sister, I also can't really tell. I know she's blast, but she might be more of a decider. But
Oh, I see. Oh, you're the youngest then?
yeah, I'm the youngest.
So the other brother, the second one, the second oldest one. So maybe he's also a decider. Maybe that's why it's a little bit difficult.
He could be. I haven't like, I was kind of like looking out for like stories that would be like, oh, this is like a decider. I don't necessarily like hear him talk about like people's struggles a lot, but I also don't talk to him a lot because he's in the army. But I mean, I lived with him my whole life, so I thought I would have like seen more. But like, he could be like, there's got to be something there that's like makes it harder, like harder for us to connect or something like that. But yeah, that he could. I just have no idea. Just some of my family members, it's so easy. Like my sister's SI and blast is so easy to see. But then like my oldest sister, it's like I just can't make heads or tails of like what hers is.
Right.
It's just weird.
Maybe she's a different quadra also, if it's so
Yeah.
difficult to see. Yeah.
But my brother-in-law, like I'm pretty sure he's SE, and it's like he's probably like an ISFP or something like that. And like that's like not hard to see. And there's like some friends that I have that I'm like, oh, that's like this is like an ESFP kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's like for some reason, some of my siblings I just like can't pinpoint.
Well, that's cool that you and your brother are into OPS. Like your brother got you into it. So, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and I guess you enjoy it a lot then. Like the whole personality thing, like it's very fascinating to you.
Yeah, I definitely do. Like it's like gotta be like my biggest hobby right now. Like it's just because it's like the information, like I'm infodom, and it's like information that is like so like huge, I feel like, because it's like once you like start understanding it, it's like I can't help but like just see it everywhere. And it's just like so like it just really hits my FI, and it's like so cool and interesting to me.
Are you trying to type everyone now that you see that you meet? It's like, what's this person's type? What's this person's type?
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily like set out trying to, but like I mean, I kind of do that with like my family. If I can, if it's clear, then I like will be like, oh, are they probably like this? But if it's not clear, then I usually just give up.
I think the good thing
I
about
learn.
learning the type thing is like if you have a conflict with someone, you know exactly what like how come the conflict happened to begin with. Because it's usually type related, right?
Yeah,
Like my mom, for example, she's an ISFJ, double masculine, sleep, blast, play, consume. So I didn't know when I was young that double people who are like masculine with a tribe, they think the tribe is threatening. Um, so I didn't know that she perceived everyone as a threat, even though she was the one that's like attacking people. She was the one that's being threatening, not people. Kind of like ironic. And then
yeah,
consume last, she doesn't research anything to save her life. So like we used to fight all the time. We never got along, but now we do because when I realized she was consumed last, I started calling her out on it, right? I'm like, where did you get this information? Can you cite your source? And she can't, right? And she looks guilty, right? I'm like, I don't think you did. And then she's like, she looks so guilty. I'm like, here you go. I have it. I have the SI paperwork to the source. She's like, oh, you have the because she's like SI the top, right? She's like, oh, you have the SI.
yeah,
Okay, and you're doing it for me because she doesn't want to consume, right? Oh, she's like, I can outsource consume to you. Oh, and she's happy. Now we get along. Like I just give her all like the info. She's
yeah.
bringing out something. I'm like, oh, here's the document. And she's like, oh, okay, no problem. So it's like, yeah.
And
Um,
it is cool. Like it's really like I know OP stuff is just like huge. I feel like for like compassion,
Yeah.
'cause it's like now there's like all these like I think being like play last. I used to like always like I kind of like viewed like people like who were like having like I kind of like viewed like shallowness like at parties or whatever. Like if there was like energy doms, just like playing back and forth and stuff like that. And like I feel so like isolated from it because I'm play last. And like since I'm like sleep first, I have like a hard time with like the just like shallow, just messing around, like having fun kind of thing. And I like used to kind of see that as like a bad thing because I like didn't understand OP and like I'm very like I'm very like religious too. And so that kind of like I think has like an effect on some things, but I was like, oh, these are like bad people to associate, like they're too shallow or whatever kind of thing. Versus like now I can like see it more clearly and I'm like, that's not how it is. Like they're not shallow. It's just like different and they're just like better, they're more balanced with the play and sleep than I am kind of thing.
Oh, you're from Utah. Are you a Mormon?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a YouTuber I follow. He's from Utah. He's a Mormon. His name is Johnny Harris. Have you seen his YouTube channel? Okay. You would, if you watch it, you would get sucked in. It's like observer heaven. Like, you know, like he'll talk about like, oh, why is the McDonald's ice cream machine always broken? It's like, oh, yeah, I want to know why. And then he kind of goes to a
Oh
deep
wait,
dive.
it's I think I've literally seen a YouTube video that explains why the McDonald's ice cream things are always
Yeah,
broken. It's
yeah,
like a really cool video that I might have seen that same one.
yeah. It's that guy. He has like a beard and
I don't remember who was doing it. All I remember it was like about a contract that they had with a company
yes,
telling them
yeah.
to
You
crap
probably
out.
saw the same one. That's me. Yeah,
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 that was
yeah.
a good YouTube video.
Yeah, that's Johnny Harris. Yeah, yeah. I think he's. I don't. I feel like he's an ENFP, but but he kind of looks like an ESFP. But I kind of. But the way he talks is very NF. So I don't know. Like I can see the NF and ST being balanced in the middle. Like he has both. But yeah. But anyways, just pointed it out because because when you said, oh, you're religious, I'm like, oh, you're Mormon. I'm like, oh, I saw this Mormon YouTuber. He's like so. Um,
Yeah.
let's talk about your social type as our last topic because I think this is the big one here. Friends first and flex last. Can you share with me like some of the pros and cons that you've seen? Yeah, yourself experience with that, like some of the good stuff, being friends first, and some of the bad stuff being friends first, some of the good stuff of being flex last, some of the bad stuff of being flex last.
Yeah, I think the con is definitely no drive. Like I just like I had a job cleaning like a doctor's office and I was the only like I did it by myself and like that job was like so hard for me for so many years because I've had it for like years, but it was like so hard for me because I like just had like no motivation to go to work and to clean all by myself kind of thing. And like it's the same with like I really like want to get into like film kind of like digital media kind of stuff and I like have wanted to do that for like so long, but I like don't get any practice and every time I like try to film a video, I just like I'll like start and my drive just like dissipates and I just can't like do anything. But I noticed that like if it was something that like my sister or something wanted to do with me, then it's like all of a sudden it like feels fine for me to like do this thing that like would have been hard for me to do before. And I think that's kind of like the main con is like not having any internal drive basically to do anything that I want to do. But
Yeah, I can kind of relate. I have demon flex, so I can, but like it's not missing like yours. Mine is like it's super sporadic. That's why I do interviews because I just talk to people because I don't have the drive sometimes to, or a lot of times I don't have the drive to create my own original video. That's why I just interview people. So I think
yeah,
there's hacks around. like this feeling of like demon flex. You just have to latch on to people more. Like that's I mean easier said than done because obviously I play first. You're play last. So I'm like, oh God, like I don't even know how you're gonna do that because you need the people to get moving, but then you're play last. Like
Yeah,
I feel like
that's the thing. And I realized that because I heard them say that like you basically gotta like surround yourself by like the friends or whatever. And that's kind of worked in my other job because I recently got a job at uh like another doctor's office. It's like a foot podiatrist place or whatever, and I'm like an MA, and like there's like some people there that I like talking to, and I actually like really love like talking to the old people. Like there's just like there'll be random like just old guys who just are probably like number fours, and they'll just like just like roast me, and like I'll just roast them back. And like that's like another like four thing that I just like love is like roasting. Like it's such like a love language, and it's so funny that I'll just like love someone roasting me so much. But like when you can tell it's like someone like just like lighthearted like banter kind of, it's like so much fun for me. And so like that I have much more drive for that job than like the other one where I'm just like all by myself. And so it's like I can definitely see how the like having like friends that you like to talk to kind of thing. And like old people are also easier to talk to than other people. Like they're just easy to converse with, and it's just like one on one. And so it's like it's easy for me to get like that friends feel, I guess.
yeah. Well, it sounds like you've put yourself in the right place, and also because you have a big family that also helps you. Also,
Yeah, definitely.
um, yeah. I'm just thinking about your family. So your oldest brother's a number three. Do you have any family member that's like one or two? Would you say?
I think um I think my mom's a three. She really specializes, like she's NE, but she like really like just loves gardening is kind of like her job, and she just could do that all day and feels like she needs to do it all the time. And so like I feel like that dissonance is like she's got to be specializing, or else she'd just be hopping
Right.
back and forth kind of, and she's not friends dominant. So I think my brother-in-law and sister who are married, they're kind of like my friends. Like I just hang out with them all the time. And I think that might they might both be twos, but I can't tell. My sister, I think she's a two because like I feel like I do really well with them because of like the friends thing. Like that's probably why I have an easy time like hanging out with them. But I do notice like my sister sometimes when like with being a number four, just wanting to like just goof around with like other people all the time and just hang out with them. Like sometimes with my sister, it's like, oh, can I come in your room? And she's like, you want to like do my laundry or whatever. And I think
Oh,
that might be like the responsibility kind of thing.
yeah.
Like it's like, okay, you can come hang out with me if you help me like fold my laundry or whatever kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, because number two is our love language is acts of service.
Mhm.
So, like helping each other do stuff is I mean, it's a little bit different with the FE people, but us with the TEs, we like, we help each other. That's a big love language for sure. But the FEs, their love language is a little bit different. They help each other, but in an FE way, so it looks a little bit different. Uh,
Yeah,
but yeah, I could yeah, that could actually explain why you're like potentially your sister could be a two because of the love language, right?
yeah. And it's actually kind of like that's like another like good thing for me to like realize because it's like that's like gonna like that kind of like makes me feel a little bad. Like I just like because it's like I just want to hang out with people all the time.
Yeah.
And so like when like my friends don't want to just like, just goof off with me for like a long time, it's like, oh, like it kind of like it's gonna make me feel bad kind of. But it's like seeing why is very helpful to be like, oh, it's not really like a me problem, it's like a type, like a social type issue. Like I don't help her a lot with her like responsibility stuff. So how can I expect her just to like, give me my like friends' needs all the time, kind of.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, I think ultimately for relationships to be solid, you have to help each other with each other's love language, right? It's like,
Yeah,
oh, this person wants gifts, this person wants love, acts of service, then let's like trade, right? And then you guys feel good about each other. I think also ultimately it's also good because you kind of respect each other too. So
for
yeah.
sure. And I do, that reminds me, I can see this one like really easily, that my grandma, who also is like in the same city, she's a one, and it's like super clear. I don't know why it's so clear, because like a lot of ones I can't like think of people in my life who are ones. Like it just would take me more time, but for some reason for her it's like really obvious. And it's like, I think she's an INTJ too, but she like she just loves giving money to people. Like she just tries to give, like she, and it's hard because like she's in a nursing home now, and so like she doesn't really have control over her funds anymore. That's really hard for her, because she just like that's kind of how she connects with people, is just
Right.
giving money kind of thing. And she loves flexing. Like she's always like at parties. She had a party and it was at our house, and she came to a party that we hosted, but we have like an art wall in one of our hallways with just like me and my siblings like paintings that we did at school or whatever. And she'll just like take them off the wall and then go around to like each person and be like, this painting was done by like my granddaughter or whatever. And she really loves like flexing her family
Right.
especially. And it's just like so easy to see. But that's only one that I can really think of in my family right now.
That's what like
That's a social type one.
oh, okay. It's a little bit tricky because number threes also flex a lot, right? So it's you know
But it's like so obvious for her. Like my brother's, he's got flex second, but it's definitely like not the same as my grandma's is. Like she definitely is a ladder climber. Like I actually heard a
oh,
story
okay.
where she told my grandpa, she was like, I guess he, so it in like my religion or whatever, lots of people like go on missions, and you can go on them when you're older.
Yeah.
And like they went on a mission to like South America or something, and then they came home, and she's like, okay, like you did that, now like what's the next thing? Like you gotta like become president of our city, like our stake, they call it like a stake. It's just, but she just like wanted him to climb the ladder, and that kind of like hurt his feelings. But I just heard that story like a few weeks ago, and I was like, that's like so obviously like, she's trying to climb the ladder basically.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense then, based on your description. Yeah. Like that's definitely sounds like a number one kind of deal for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've heard about the Mormon what do you call it, missions as well. Like because I was watching what's his name, Brian Johnson, because he used to be a Mormon, so he talked about his missions to Guatemala or something, and then Johnny Harris also used to talk about his missions too in his own channel. So
Mhm.
yeah, and that other guy you mentioned earlier, the play last INTJ Tim Ferriss, he interviewed a Mormon also, like a Mormon YouTuber for like 3 hours, and then he just went into detail about how Mormon works. So actually, like I learned a lot about like the Mormon religion, what listening to those podcasts, you know. Yeah, yeah, like some really interesting stuff. Like apparently the teaching is the same anywhere you go. It's not like skewed. Kind of like other Christianity, like who could
Yeah, it's definitely like very like organized. Like it's yeah, it's not like, church by church. It's like, because it's like we have, you know, like prophets and like stuff like that are in like different cities, and they do like videos and stuff like that. And like it's like it's kind of like a pyramid, kind of like there's like they're all connected. I don't know how I'm like trying to like describe it, but it's like you'll have like a bishop in the church that you live by, but then he's kind of under another person. And so it's like all connected. It's not just like, this is my church and we don't really talk with the other church. It's like they all connect together. It
Okay.
sounds bad. I'm kind of making it sound like a pyramid scheme.
Yeah. Well, I
It's
mean,
like a pyramid, and I'm like, that's
well,
not the best wording.
it's fine, it's fine. But like I did have one interesting interaction with some Mormons that came to my house before when I was younger. So I live in Canada, right? And then there's two Mormons came to my house. One is like an older lady, and one's like I guess she was like a younger woman in her 20s or something. So they doorbell to my house. I open the door, and then the lady looks at me and she goes, "Have you heard of Jesus Christ?" And then I said, "Yeah, of course. I'm a Catholic, so I know I follow Jesus." And then she replied. You know how she replied? She looked at her. She looked at the person beside her, like the woman in her 20s, and she's like, "He can speak good English." And I was like, "I'm right here. Why?" Like, you know, like I'm like, this is not a good way for you to be recruiting people. Like this is
Yeah,
not.
it's definitely they're definitely that's kind of how my grandma is. Like that's like her she and I think like maybe there's just definitely like some members that have more tact than others. Like
Yeah,
they'll just be more like preachy because like I don't think that's they don't really like teach that that's how you should be. Like it's more important to like have a relationship and like
yeah,
teach for example than just to be like you know just like preaching on a wall kind of thing.
yeah,
But like my grandma's kind of like that where she just like goes up to just everyone and just like ask them about the church and stuff like that and like
yeah.
it doesn't go very well but she tries.
I think the best Mormon people that was recruiting that I've seen was my friend because I live in Vancouver, Canada, so that we have a huge Chinese population here, right? Um, so there was this two Mormons. They're like younger guys, I think in their early 20s also, and they're going door to door, recruiting people obviously to join the Mormon religion. But like these guys, they're special. So they're white, but they speak perfect Mandarin. And I was like, see, these guys, they know how to do it. Okay. I can't even speak Mandarin. Like I'm Chinese. I don't know how to speak Chinese, right? But like these guys, I'm like, when I saw them, because they went to try to recruit my friend, right? I was like, man, they make me look bad, you know? Because like I'm thinking about the observer. I'm like, they're speaking perfect Mandarin. What the hell is this? You know? And
Yeah, these white guys are showing you up.
I know. I was like, they're white. They speak perfect Mandarin. What the hell is this shit? Like, I'm like, I feel embarrassed. You know, like,
Yeah, no, that's definitely because it's like they like they send missions like all over the world kind of so like if you're going to Africa obviously like you're going to have to learn the African language that is spoken and where you're going. So like both my parents like at least my mom I think is fluent in Spanish. My dad's probably less than fluent, but he's like they're both really good at speaking Spanish.
yeah,
But it's like, yeah, if you're going, even if you're in America, if they're sending you to a city that has like a high Spanish population, then they'll probably teach you Spanish because it's like so that you can minister to the people that don't speak English, basically. So yeah, there's lots of people here that know a lot of different languages.
yeah. I think like if I were to praise something about the Mormon religion, it's definitely the missions. Like, I think that thing enhances you guys like on a personal level so much that I think like that's like the best thing. Like, I don't see other religions doing this. Like, I think that's something that's missing out from like the other religions. It's like the missions. I think that's so good. Like, you guys like when I was watching a Brian Johnson guy, he's like a play last INTP, right? He's like that mission taught him so much about life. Just going those missions, like if he said if he had something to praise about the Mormon religion, it would be that. And I agree. Like when I saw those white guys speaking perfect Mandarin, I'm like, okay, there's something into this that's really helping, like people in this religion. Like this is really good. Like if you're Mormon, you should be doing missions. Like you get smarter if anything. Like you're so like you're a white guy, you're speaking Mandarin, even if you're not doing it for your mission, you have to do it for work and you have to get ahead in your career. Imagine you're a white guy that speaks Mandarin. Oh my God, like what
They'll
company
love
would not
you.
hire you? Like
Yeah.
you can get any job you want, essentially. Like you're unstoppable, like you are like
Yeah.
unstoppable, so
It's definitely like, I don't know. I just like was thinking about that lately, like how crazy it is, like because it is like it's a huge community,
Yeah.
and it's like the inner workings is just like so. And I think part of it's probably, like there's so many people, like so it's like there's a prophet, and then they have like 12 other. I'm feeling so stupid because I'm like forgetting the exact word. I don't know if all of them are prophets. This is like something that I've known my whole life, and I'm just like, it's just my like feminine SI. I just can't, I forget an obvious word that I should know. But it's like, I think they're like all, oh, it's like prophets and then the apostles under them, and there's like, 70 of them or whatever. And so it's like, you have all these people, probably all of different types, like helping to create this, like, well balanced, orchestrated
Yeah.
religion. It's like all over the world. It's kind of crazy. I really want like to get his name's Russell M. Nelson. That's like the current prophet. And I really want to like type him, but I suck at it.
Yeah.
And I don't think that like anyone's gonna vote for him. So I'm not putting him in like the celebrity like typing thing, because me and my brother are probably like the only ones that are part of the religion
Right.
in the E community. There's probably a few more, but it's like I probably gonna have to figure out how to type it myself.
I was just thinking, like, imagine getting kicked out of the Mormon religion because you don't remember anything about the Mormon religion. And then, and it's like the biggest irony because like, the Mormon religion is the one that is the most proactive at recruiting people to join the religion. So it's just like, I thought it's like you don't know anything about us, you're out, what? It's like,
They're definitely not going to do that.
I'm joking, but like, I'm just thinking, I just thought it would be funny because like the biggest irony, of all.
I
Yeah.
think I think if that happened, they'd probably lose half their members, if not more. If it's like, if they took tests, because there's a lot of information to know.
Most people don't know anything because of the feminine sensory.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Jess, we'll wrap up the interview here. So I'd like to thank you again for reaching out to me to do this interview. I think it's especially good because you're play last and you reached out. So I think that's super cool, very growth mindset of you to do that. I think um I'm definitely getting a more play last people coming out, which is awesome. Like I think people want to learn from you guys. You guys have a lot of value to provide the community, a lot of insights. Even you as young as you are, I think you have a lot of wisdom already being so processed, being your double activated sleep, right? So I think these are all awesome for the community. So yeah, thanks for just coming forth and representing your play last people.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, take care.
See ya.